I'd like to give us a special shout out to our one true good friend, Bushi-sama, for, oh, hi, darling.
Shout out to Bushi-sama.
Shout out to Bushi-sama for giving us the greatest set from the greatest anime of all time, Bocher the Dwayne Johnson. Now, I was very pessimistic. I was a non-believer, you see. I jumped the gun and I decided I wanted to get myself a playset of Bocchi the Rock because I wasn't sure if we'd ever get it in English, and by God, I was going to play it. But Kidani himself came down from the heavens and announced us that we have been worthy enough to receive the Boch. So here we go. For all you people who want to build Bocchi when it comes to English, here's a nice, cool deck list, courtesy of yours truly. Starting off, we have a very lonesome-looking Bocchi. I apologize in advance. I don't know all of these cards' names. So you're just going to have to listen to me and memorize the card effects when I refer back to them. But we have the 0-0 Stock Bomb Bocchi. So on reverse, if she gets killed by a level 0, you send it to stock, send it to top of stock, and your opponent pays out the bottom. She's also an on reverse top check 3, grab any character or history of failures event, which we will get to later as we run 4 of them, and there's 2 different ones with the same name. This card is referred to by 2 different cards in the set, so you better keep your eye out, or ears out if you're listening, on what I will say about those cards. Moving on to Mijika, the lame, the stinky, the smelly. If you're familiar with the quintessential quintuplet set, you might find her effects very recognizable. She is a self-help salvage brainstormer with the effect of you gain +1 card hand size for the rest of the game. So, what makes her special is that she has a soul trigger. Bushiroad will never learn from the mistake and will not stop printing costless characters with soul triggers because they are always super good, but they keep printing them and just increasing the speed of the game, and it kind of makes me sad because I don't want this game to be power crept like other Bushiroad games. Moving on, we have my wife, my beautiful, my darling, my treasure, Roy Yamaha, Ryo Yamada, the broke bassist, spends all her money on instruments, has very rich parents, so she gets a lot of money, but it doesn't matter. She's just like me. She's always poor. I love her. She's so good. But she's look at her little look at her little smile. Look at it. It's adorable. I just want to be her little bottom bitch. I want her to dress up in like her tuxedo outfit and then step on me and put me on a collar, walk me around. I'll go like like a dog. Okay, she's fucking beautiful. Okay, but enough about how much I want her to peg me. On attack, she pumps something equal to the number of other music characters you have by 500. So it's a really nice Shimikai effect to pump stuff over, because a lot of our cards are kind of small. So having this really good this really good power pump effect at level 0 is really nice to get over some of my opponent's stuff. She is also a avoider. So at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can, if there's something in front of it, you can run anywhere in your front row that has an open slot. So not only is it a +0, but it helps us kill our opponent's stuff as well. Really good card. When this first got spoiled, again, I was a non-believer. I thought, damn, they really given my wife the shaft instead of me giving her my shaft. But no, it turns out the more I play with this card, the more I love it, and the more I love Roy Yamaha. Moving on, we have the lesbian, the whore, the slut, Kitan. Continuous effect, as long as all your characters are music, which they will be. This card gains 1k power, so it'll be a 2k cross turn, which is pretty nice. Pair those with your Roy Yamaha, you pump it up big power. It also has an effect, when it becomes reverse in battle, you can clock a card from your hand, send it to memory, search your deck for a character. This helps us because we don't really have a lot of good ways to just straight up search at level 0, but we do have ways, and we do care about experience, so this helps us filter high-level cards from our hand into our clock so that we can level them later. And also, it's just a good way to have some nice memory compression. Now that this card is like removed from the game, we never need to see it again. So it's helpful. It's a good card early, and we don't need to see it ever again. So it just fucks off to memory. Two more cards we have here are the little original art chibi Bocchi drop searcher, or drop salvager, my bad. On play, pay one, ditch one, salvage a character, pump something 1k. And also has the effect, if you have 2 or less cards in memory already, you can send a History of Failures event from your grave to your memory. So our finisher cares about the History of Failures events in memory. So this is a nice way to just put them in memory. For free. We also have a Climax Swap. Yeah, Climax Swapper. On play, top check 2, rearrange. Really nice for deciding how we want to attack, especially when we get to our level 1 turn. And Climax Swappers are good. We are playing 8 doors, so we don't really have a lot of good Climax insurance at level 1. Moving on to our level 1 cards, we have the only good level 1 combo in the set. Bocchi hiding in her dark, damp place like a little loner she is, fucking loser. If you have 3 or more other music characters, she is a 1k. Note, almost nothing in this set cares about traits. So everything in the set kind of cares about having 3 or more other characters in general instead of having 2 or more music traded characters. So that kind of really hurts us when we're having a bit of a bad luck and we just can't really field a whole lot. So it's just like, ugh, it just makes it worse. But she has a really good combo effect. During your turn, or during both turns, if you have 3 more characters, she is 1k, so 5/5, which is sizable body, not super big, but what can you do when your combo is on attack, experience 2 or greater, discard a card, reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. You grab all characters or history of failures event. So again, very similar to the Itsuki card. However, this allows you to grab the events that are pretty good. And this combos with the first door of the set. I think this one is the dreaming about the performance at some stadium I don't remember the name of. You'll recognize the art when it comes to English. The MVP of the deck, however, is Bocchi's sister, Futari. On play, you can discard any card from your hand and grab any character from your deck whose level is equal to the number of these in your grave. So let's say you have 2 of these in grave. Play Futari, discard a card. You can grab a level 2 or lower character from your grave and add it to hand. So it is an insanely good filter tool. The only other set I've ever seen it be printed in is Danmachi, but it requires other cards that you kind of just don't play. But no, we definitely always kind of want to keep like one of these in hand, just so like, oh, we don't level up when we want to level up. We just have ways to filter into cards that we will actually play. We have 1 counter as a free fresh, which is pretty nice. 2k counter, and when you use the counter, you discard a specific Kita card that we haven't gotten to yet. It's level 3, and you free fresh your deck. Pretty nice. My one downside is that if you are late game and you trigger your door climax early, this can't pay it out, which kind of sucks. But it is a really cheap effect for free fresh, so that we can save our stock for more for our finisher, which is kind of stock intensive. For our last level 1s, we have 2 History of Failures event. They are you pay 1, search your deck for a character, send this to memory. No, I will not refer to this as anti-magic mask. This is a promise pendant for you Zoomers out there. Moving on to our only level 2 to the deck, we have 2 more History of Failures event. Here we can see our beautiful rock having a seizure on the ground. So this is a stock shuffle event. We're going to have good cards in Bocchi the Rock. So they gave us a downgraded version of a stock swap. So what this does is you count the number of cards your opponent's stock, they shuffle those cards back into their deck, and then they blind stock. So the ceiling for this is a lot lower than a normal stock swap, but it does have its use cases where it's kind of a lot harder to play around because of the random nature of the effect. Moving on to level 3s, we have one of our early plays, Kita Kitan. This is the Kita that is referenced by the Free Fresh Roy Yamaha. So use the backup, discard this Kita. to refresh your deck. If full field early play, however, we don't really play this card. We kind of just shove all these in level for our experience requirements. She also says if you have, I believe it is, yep, 3 or more characters, she is 2K. So if you do play her, she's a 10-5. And if she's in the front row, all of your music characters gain 1-5. So she becomes a 10-5, 12K in the front row, which is a pretty big body for something that doesn't really have an on-play effect. So if you so desire to play her, she's big as she pumps everything else, which is kind of nice because all your level 1s are pretty tiny. Moving on to our level 3s, you have another early play, and my beautiful wife pawning off her bases so she can afford basic necessities. She's so relatable. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your graveyard, she is -1 level, and she has an on-play heal, and she has a really cool effect where when you play her, rather than paying stock, you can discard this specific Bocchi card and just play her for free. So you gain so much hand advantage with these because you +2 off your combo, and you have 9 hand because you'll have 2 Brainstormers in your back row. So discarding 1 card is very minimal as a cost. Moving on to another level 3, we have this, my wife eating grass, touching grass. She's too poor to afford food. She's just like me. On play, you can sack any other character to grab a climax from your grave for almost free, which we don't really care. Our finisher doesn't require a board condition really much. She also has a second effect. On attack, hit you stock, then you spend all of your stock. The flavor is so good in this set. And then you shuffle back 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard into their deck. Really good decompression tool for when we get into our finisher, which has a lot of mini instances of damage. Speaking of our finisher, we have the Rock herself, the Bocchi, Hitori Goto, Guitar Hero, Loser, other names. On play, you choose a character from your clock, put it on the bottom of your deck. So it's kind of a weird healer. She also has a climax combo that needs experience 6 and memory. So on attack, if you have the other door in play, I don't even remember closely what the name of this card is. You discard 2 cards. You send a History of Failures event from your memory into grave, and you have experience 6 or more. You mill the top 2 cards of your deck. For each climax, your opponent burns 2. For each non-climax, your opponent burns 1. So now this is in 2 different instances of damage. So if you mill a climax and a character, they burn 2, then they burn 1. Mill 2 climaxes, burn 2, burn 2. Mill 2 characters, burn 1, burn 1. And then you do the normal trigger check. So you're getting 3 instances of damage off of each of these. So generally the idea of the deck is you're probably going to have your Roy Yamaha, your 2 Bocchis, and that's probably like your average lineup for your finisher. Ideally, you do want a triple Bocchi for a lot of damage. This may or may not be the meta deck. One of like the decks that people are brewing is a 8-choice build or 7-choice 1 bar build, which I'm not a fan of because of how the English meta is. There is the bar finisher, which is good and is very consistent and light on resources, but it is very interactable. This one, the only thing that really interacts with it is a tap counter. So it's a very heavier cost up front. So I like this deck. Maybe the build I'm going to make in max rarity when it comes to English. Maybe it's going to be the bar build. I just know I need someone to PayPal me $30,000 so I can spend all my money on Bocchi cases. I told you she's relatable. Please help me. I am in debt and I'm about to sell all of my livers and then some.